Mr. Speaker, nobody denies that there isn't considerable hardship in many communities in our country, and nobody denies that a child who is consistently hungry at school is ill-prepared to learn and needs our compassionate help. But, sir, this bill is not the answer to that problem. And in fact, for those who have just tuned in, it is worth pointing out that the implication of this bill would be to force every decile 1 and 2 school in New Zealand to deliver a breakfast and lunch program for every child. And sir, not only that, it is worth pointing out that because of the way our decile system works, not every child in New Zealand who attends a decile 1 or 2 school comes from a poor family. And the reverse of that, of course, is that there are many children from poor homes who are not attending decile 1 and 2 schools. So this is a very inefficient and inexact way of trying to deal with the problem. And it has been estimated that the cost of this measure would probably be in excess of $100 million per annum. That is significant when you consider, sir, what else is being done by this government and by many generous companies, organisations and individuals throughout the land in order to try to tackle the very real problems. Sir, as a constituency MP, I am always heartened and humbled by those in my electorate in Hamilton West who are in schools and community organisations in my electorate early each morning delivering food in schools programs, breakfast in schools. And I salute them, I thank them, and I know that all the children and their families, their parents and caregivers also appreciate that. But sir, that is something that they have done to meet the needs of children in their community, children who they know well. It isn't blanket compulsion across a decile system that doesn't take into account any other circumstances. So other speakers on this side of the House have quite rightly pointed out a number of initiatives that we have seen introduced in recent times. It was about a year ago that the Prime Minister announced that the government would support Kickstart with $9.5 million in funding over 5 years, and that would be matched by Sanitarium and Fonterra. That was an outstanding gesture by those companies, and I was proud of that initiative by the government. Sir, more than 1.5 million breakfasts have been served since the expansion of that program last year. You do not need, sir, legislation to launch a government-funded program to support the delivery of food or meals at school unless you are determined to force boards to do something that they may be totally unwilling and ill-equipped to do. And that is one of the things. Tip Top, sir, has also very generously supported this need in our community with its Nourish Our Kids program. They work with Kids Can. It consists of an annual donation of 100,000 loaves of bread, which are delivered weekly to primary and intermediate school children in decile 1 to 4 schools across the country. This is practical and it enables those who are in receipt of those significant donations within the school communities to ensure that they can identify the children who are in need. And it is done in a discreet, compassionate, sensitive way. Sir, these are just some of the many initiatives that are responding to the need that we have in our community. The member's bill takes a blanket approach and does not take into account what is already being done, and instead says impose huge cost in many instances where it isn't justified in order to try to meet the needs of those who do require it. Sir, I have sympathy for his concern because, like all members of this House, I have great sympathy for hungry children.
The time has come for the House to rise, so this debate is interrupted and sit down for resumption next sitting day. And the House will stand adjourned until 2 p.m. tomorrow. Good evening, everybody.